many medium and big companies prefer to have statisticians or data scientists that have expertise in the language Python. And they motivate this choice with reasons I find disputable. The common reason is that the typical language used for statistics, that is R, is not suitable for production. In this video you will understand that it is hardly true. In a previous video I showed you that I put into production this R code to obtain data about milk that is useful, for example, if you have a company that processes milk. If we go into the runs of this code, we see that we don't have problems, and that is one requirement to have something in production instead of a demo phase. In that video I showed you I put into production this R code inside GitHub because it is the easiest way to do so. And if you go to see why, you will discover that it doesn't just rely on R, but on this YAML that of course adds a layer of complexity compared to the plain Python code. And running R scripts on GitHub is also the easiest way because with other solutions you have other problems, and you will understand which. For example, if we go inside the render, that I mentioned of course in another video, you see that if we add a new web service, the case of this script, it is basically a web service, we add Latte Italia connect, but you can select whatever you want. We notice that it asks the language. You notice that we don't have R, we have Python. Or we have Docker. And if we go back, this YAML tells the servers of GitHub, Microsoft servers, the configuration of the virtual machine. And Docker is a way to have a virtual machine, and I leave it like that. As you can understand, if you have to select this, things complicates a bit compared to this, because here we configure the machine like that. Let's go in another service, that is fly.io. Again, you see that as standard runtimes, that is another way to call the language, they have Python but not R. And again, they say you can have a bypass with a repository on GitHub that have an existing Docker file. In my case, I don't have a Docker file, but a YAML file. Of course, this script can be converted into a Docker file, but as I said, it is more comfortable for me doing it like this. Another service that I covered in yet another video is Hugging Face. If we go to new space, you see that the Space SDK, that is like the language or the runtime, we don't have R, but we have this one that is Python based, this one that is Python based, and Docker that is whatever you want based. You have Shiny that is based on R or on Python, and we have also other for Docker, and then this one we don't really care. As a conclusion, if you want more timely data for your company that uses a service based on R, you have either write a YAML file, or in the case of GitHub, or rely on a Docker file that, in my opinion, is a bit more complicated than writing this. Of course, with Python, it is more straightforward, and that is the first reason companies could have the bias I mentioned at the beginning. Then another cliché is Python is faster than R. It depends on the context. In this case, we will never have an issue on speed. In some cases, for example, big data, Python might become a more reasonable solution than R. I would also say that with big data, Hadoop is better, but this is another topic. You understand that it is not a matter of black and white, but of it depends. If you want statistical workers for your company based on R or also Python, we can first discuss it in a free call you can book in the link you see in the description. Bye and see you the next time.